You're welcome to the Gavel. I'm Linda Akibe. It's still uneasy days in the National Assembly. On one hand, we have a lingering situation where the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Tambuwal, defected from the ruling party PDP to the opposition party APC. The Speaker, Aminu Tambuwal, took the police and the PDP to court over plans to declare his seat vacant. The matter is still in court, but the judge ruled that status quo be maintained. However, fresh crisis is brewing in the Senate. Let's find out what in this report. It was an unusual plenary. No motions were raised or bills considered. This was the same situation at plenary on Tuesday. The refusal of federal lawmakers in the Senate to handle any legislative work perhaps gives credence to reports that PDP lawmakers in the Senate are unhappy with President Jonathan and intend to avoid considering any bill or motion on the floor. Channels Television spoke to some PDP lawmakers who did not want to be identified, who said they are unhappy with the President for allowing governors to manipulate the PDP ward congresses across the country. Some PDP lawmakers have read the handwriting on the wall that they may not return to the Senate in 2015, as some governors are eyeing their seats and also want to replace senators with their loyalists. Nevertheless, at plenary, Senate President David Mark carefully addressed the issue of the defection of the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
As the Chairman of the National Assembly, I cannot fold my arms or pretend that all is well or close my eyes to the current crisis. I am therefore doing all that I can to resolve the current impasse. Furthermore, the matter is already in a court of law. We cannot therefore discuss the issues here. I want to assure all of you that I will do the needful to protect and defend the legislature at all costs.
But an opposition lawmaker is displeased with the recent development at plenary.
For 3.5 years, they didn't allow this place to work as democracy. Now they are victims of it. If we have our way, we in APC will come back tomorrow and sit. It should not be about personal interest, it's about the future of this country. It should be about our people. Now they are seeing injustice, they are fighting. We have seen injustice more than 3.5 years ago. We wanted to fight, they didn't allow us to fight. Why must it be that it is when it affects us that we act? People should have standards. Now they have seen that most of them are no longer welcoming back in their home. Now they have seen that they've made themselves slaves to the executive. And when you call yourself, when you make yourself a slave, they will treat you like a slave. Now they've treated them like a slave, not like slaves. That's the consequence of that. But Nigerians voted they have to come and work. We must work. We are working for Nigerians. But because they have problems with their party, with their president and with their governors, we are not allowed to work. We don't want that. We don't want to be seen that we APC members do not want to work. We want to work, but the system does not allow us to work.
Senate leader Victor Ndumewa said the issue needs to be addressed as quickly as possible to avoid a deterioration in legislative work.
The PDP caucus met yesterday, and the PDP caucus met again today immediately after plenary. Now, for us to have caucus meetings so frequently suggests that there are fundamental issues, and indeed I can confirm that there are fundamental issues affecting our democracy arising from the just concluded world congresses across the states. And the issues are fundamental and need to be addressed in the interest of our democracy.
The PDP caucus in the Senate held a meeting immediately after plenary to try to resolve the crisis. A source who did not want to be named told Channels Television that the PDP caucus would meet with President Jonathan to discuss the impasse. The source said the PDP lawmakers are proposing that at least 2 lawmakers from each state be given automatic Senate tickets. To explain to us the position of the law on the defection of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, we sat down with a legal practitioner, Barrister Aja N. Aja. I believe the issue of association
between a politician and whatever political platform he wishes to identify with is still a corollary of the right and freedom of association in the Constitution. However, it's of a special type. We are in partisan politics because the Constitution, which is the basic law of the land, provides for circumstances and situations in which you can exercise your right to associate or not associate. It recognizes the fact that election into public offices in Nigeria for now are sponsored by political parties. You must ride on a platform for you to get to office, and then when you so do, the Constitution enjoins and expects you to to show some level of fidelity to the platform upon which you went to power. In which case, if you must defect from that platform, there are a set of conditions that you must meet before you can move from one side to the other. So I think what is happening in the House of Representatives, in as much as it's throwing up dust in the polity, it's all going to be well and good for the country. At the end of the day, it must have been resolved, because I believe it's going to help in strengthening the democratic principles we practice.
Well, the Constitution is very explicit when it says that when you decamp, when you leave a political party for another political party, you automatically lose your seat. It's clear on this.
Yes. It's clear that in jurisprudence, in interpreting provision, we must look at the entire provisions. The Constitution says that decamping or crossing the floor is one of the ways an elected parliamentarian will lose his position. The Constitution provides a leeway for whoever wants to cross the floor, to the effect that it must have been occasioned by a division in the political party upon which you went to power. And there's also a sequence of events that must take place before the person actually has to vacate. Because the Constitution provides in section 68, 2, that before the speaker should put into effect the provisions of the Constitution in respect of a decamping member, a member who decamps, by declaring his seat vacant. But before he does that, either the speaker or a member of the House must bring evidence before the House and prove to the House's satisfaction that all the conditions for the invocation of the earlier provision have been met. That has not happened. Because it is the person in the eye of the storm, the speaker, that said, I am moving over. Therefore, nobody has put any evidence before the House. And when you're putting any evidence, of course, it is presupposed that you also bring proof that there is no division in the political platform upon which the person came to power. That has not been done. And for the purposes of just making an argument, the Constitution is so strict in a way that the courts have interpreted it that when the Constitution provides for a particular way of doing anything, once that way has not been complied with, then nothing has been done. I will refer you to what happened in Adamawa State, about whether somebody resigned or not. So right now, the entire gamut of the provisions relating to the affected member leaving his seat has not gone through. So there is no way, because that provision is not automatic. It's not activated on the basis that you've spoken, you've said, this is, I'm moving. There are other steps to take place. There should be evidence that the provisions of that particular section have been complied with before we now talk about asking him to quit his seat.
So what you're saying is that he's still a member of the PDP?
No. What I'm saying is that he has evinced, he has even articulated, he has stated that he has moved, he has changed parties.
But he has not complied with the provisions of the Constitution.
Not him. The House has not complied. Probably at the point of resumption, a member could move a motion and then bring that to the notice of the House that the provisions of section 61G has been complied with, and bring evidence to that effect, upon which now the Speaker will be expected, in quote, because we are looking at a very funny situation whereby the person who is calling the shots is also the person who is involved. So, but it is expected that once that has been complied, the next thing that the Speaker will now have an obligation to declare his own seat vacant.
That's not what you're saying. The same way when the Speaker made his intention on the floor of the House that he's going to leave the PDP for the APC. Afterwards, the Senate, the House of Reps minority leader, Representative Femi Babagomina, he briefed journalist, and he spoke about this, that there was a division in the PDP, and gave this, made a case, as you've said. Is this the same as the House making a case for him?
Yeah, I don't think so, because the position of the minority leader does not approximate to the position of the House. In fact, he didn't make that within plenary. He made it after session had ended. But let me also point out the fact, the issue of whether there is a division or not is case sensitive.
Yes, we're going to come to that. There's the issue of the division. Okay. If we had a federal high court saying that there's no division in the PDP. So how does that play out in this matter?
Well, the ruling of the federal high court subsists only to the effect that it affects those who were parties to that case. How? If the court makes a pronouncement that there is no division, and I want to defect tomorrow, between today and tomorrow, something could have happened, which means we need another judicial intervention. So I believe that invoking the pronouncement of the federal high court does the PDP no good. Rather, they should find evidence and prove that both in his word and in the state, there in Sokoto State, that the PDP suffers from no division whatsoever. That will strengthen the case, and I believe that if they are able to convince the House that that's the position, well, the Speaker will have an obligation to declare his own seat vacant as a man of honor, I think.
Now, events after the defection, we saw the police withdrawing the security personnel of the Speaker, saying that since he defected, he's no longer the Speaker of the House of Representatives. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, the straight point is that the police force resorted to self-help. Yes, they resorted to self-help because in the order of protocols, the Speaker is number 4 person in the scheme of things in this nation, and he's entitled to police protection. And you cannot say that he's no longer the Speaker when he has not been removed as provided for in the Constitution by the members. And you cannot say that he is no longer a member, because that would even imply some kind of cross-arm intervention. How would the police, which is a member of the executive, which is somehow isolated, even though they are working in partnership, how can they now approximate the powers of the House to make and enforce its own rules, to now say that a person who is still recognized by the honorary members themselves as the Speaker, although he has changed parties, how can the police say that he's no longer the Speaker? So it's a pronouncement that can only flow from legislative proceedings, in which case, if the states we itemize, have been complied with, and they invoke the relevant provisions, and the Speaker vacates his office, that's a different thing altogether. Or there will be a pronouncement from the court. In the absence of these two interventions, the executive, no manifestation of the executive branch has the power to declare the Speaker no longer the Speaker, or to declare his seat vacant. It's out of hours. They have no such power. They are appropriating powers that do not belong to them.
Now, the 1999 Constitution was amended to discourage cross-carpeting and defection of lawmakers from one political party to another. But despite the amendment, this is still a common practice in the Nigerian legislature. Even before the Speaker defected, we saw lawmakers in the House of Reps and the Senate defecting. And even before that, we also saw, lawmakers still defecting in the Senate. Why is this still happening, despite the constitutional amendment to ensure that this does not happen?
Well, I'll take it from two perspectives. The first one is it shows some value deficiency in the system. How? There is little or nothing to separate. In fact, the parties are different manifestations of themselves. Let me be specific, if the PDP is driven by ideology, and the APC has their own fundamental principles that drive them, and they are different to present some kind of alternative, balancing alternatives, you find out that a PDP member crossing over to the APC, he would stick out like a sore strong, because it would show that you say that you believe in capitalism, now you are coming over to a communist party. You have an onerous task justifying the movement. But now they are much of the same thing. Therefore, it is easier for them to move, because you leave room A to room B. What is in room A is also what is in room B. Now, it also speaks volume of the character of politicians, because if a mandate is given to you, and we must be frank here that it operates all across the board. If a mandate is given to you, and flowing from the Supreme Court interpretation of the elections in River State, that you don't go to power alone, you go on a platform. It is the party that the people voted for. If a mandate is given to you, and you are enjoying the privileges that come with that mandate, and you are also discharging the duties that follow the mandate, and by any chance at all, you want to do a vote case, you want to turn back on where you are and move to another place, I believe that ordinarily, if you believe that, because most times when they do it, they say that their people, their constituency have advised them, or rather need them to do that. I think it is logical, as well as in consonance with honor, for you to step down. Since your people asked you to do that, go back, they will still endorse your coming back again, if your people really asked you to do that. But you know that in most instances, if not in all instances, the people have no input into such decisions. Whether it is a form of power play, whereby where your interest will be better protected. That's where you just scheme yourself into. So I think, like I said, it's a manifestation of the gross deficiency in value in both the political system, the parties themselves, as well as the persona, the people who populate the political field. They have nothing much to offer in terms of value, in terms of quality, in terms of character. That's why it's easy for them to be color A today and color B tomorrow. It's right from the system.